Next up, we have the strawweight fight, title fight, I should say, between Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas. And we got minus 200 on the champion and plus 170 on the challenger here in Rose Namajunas. And this is the most, or at least closer lined odds. Out of all the three title fights that we have on the slate tonight, and I'm very much looking forward to this one the most out of it, as I believe it truly is the most competitive out of all three. Now, I do like me some champion here. I do like Zhang in this spot, as I do believe that she's the more devastating power puncher. And I think that ultimately her intimidating style and her power heavy style will overcome the technical abilities of Rose Namajunas. Now, the one thing that I truly like, I had a lot, first and foremost, I had a lot of fun diving into the tape for this fight and truly analyzing both fighters and seeing where their weaknesses are, where they fall short, and where they should be able to start to take over if the fight does start to swing in their favor. And I do like what I'm seeing more from Zhang. Now, Zhang never really steps back, nor does she really show weakness. She has great durability, and she's pretty much standing in the pocket and always wants to have the last word when it comes to those pocket exchanges. Just watch the Ioane and Jacek fights, even the Jessica Andrade fight, like that's kind of her style. She stays, she follows her right leg kick with a lot of powerful combinations. But whenever her opponents are coming in, she's the one kind of standing her ground and throwing her hands in response. Now, Rose Namajunas, if you watch her fights with Ioane and Jacek, there's so many instances where she's catching Ioane while she's moving backwards, and she's always the one with the last word in those technical exchanges. Whereas I think that whenever Rose is going to try to close the distance here and try to get her striking off, she's going to be met with a couple combinations in return from Weili Zhang, and that's where I truly think that the damage and the impactful shots of Weili will start to wear on Rose Namajunas the further this fight goes. Now, it seems like Rose has solid technical foot movement and footwork from the outside, which is why she's able to close distance and land these awkward angled shots, which is exactly what she knocked out Ioane and Jacek with in their first fight, right? It was like a weird step off angle, left hook followed by right hand, which initially rocked Ioana. And then the second time around, she hits her with just the left. She throws the right, but the right misses because Ioana was already on the way down and was very, very hurt from from those shots. Now, there's a lot of speculation that it was probably due to the bad weight cuts that Ioana has been having, going down to 115 pounds. And, it kind of holds true, right? We haven't really seen Ioane and Jacek get knocked out since that fight, and she's shown great durability, especially, eating some big, big shots the way that she did from Weili Zhang in their fight of the decade contender, considering the amount of damage and fun that was had in that fight. But I think that Rose will struggle with the counter striking game of Weili here. Weili is very cerebral as well when she wants to go in and start to hunt for the kill, as I believe that Rose Namajunas is very technical with her footwork. She will eventually find herself trapped up against the cage behind the black line, and that's where Weili Zhang really gets her best strikes and combinations off. Now, I think it's going to be the counters that which ultimately give us the downfall of Rose in this fight. Whenever Rose, again, moves forward, tries to land her shots, she leaves herself very wide open, and that's where I think that the confidence that Weili has in her counter combinations will allow her to really pull away in this fight, because she's going to be landing the more technical strikes and going to be kind of really the damage will definitely start to show on Rose Namajunas in that fight. And it was interesting to see Rose slow down the way that she did in that third round against Jessica Andrade and start to eat those big shots. Like if you see her at the beginning of that third round and then the ending of that third round against Andrade the second time around, completely different, right? She has no marks on her face in that at the beginning of the round, and then we do see the strikes of Andrade start to catch her in that third. And I can only imagine what the more volume and more impact from Weili will do to her compared to what Andrade was able to do to her in one round. Also, another thing I will say that was very impressive from Ioana's side the second time around that Rose fought her was the leg kicks. It really did start to slow down the movement of Rose, which is something that Rose is very dependent on in her fights. She needs to move in and out to get her strikes off and get away from big punches. But Ioana was able to slow her down the longer that fight went because of the leg kicks. That's exactly what Weili does as well. She throws the right leg kick very often very consistently, and it does get followed up with some combinations on the feet, as most people usually are one and done with their leg kicks. Not to mention, more often than not, you see fighters throw their hands first and then end with the leg kick. But with Weili, you're getting the leg kick first and then combinations afterwards. And I think if she stays on that, she'll be able to immobilize Rose Namajunas and truly get her hands going. Now, I don't think that Rose is going to be able to handle the strength and the power of Zhang in this fight, which is why I think that we'll see Rose actually get finished the later that this fight goes, right? I'm expecting Weili to truly start to open up the later that this fight goes. We saw her cardio get tested against Ioane and Jacek last time around, and it definitely it seemed like she was slowing down a little bit according to the commentators in the third and fourth round, but the fifth round was very, very strong for her, and she's able to land some big combinations, and I'm expecting the same thing here against Rose. Wiley's durability is another huge benefit here for her, as I'd be surprised to see Rose actually land a devastating shot to one, make her nervous or hesitant to close the distance and stand in the pocket as Weili normally does, and two, I don't think she'll be able to knock her out, man. I truly think that Weili will be able to eat whatever Rose throws out there, but then again, on the return, Weili is going to be much more impactful and throw much more volume from the outside. So I'm expecting Rose to be as ready as you can be, especially with having a guy like Trevor Whitman in your corner. They must have studied Weili to the core and try to find the best ways to ultimately beat her. But it's going to come down to the combinations, and at the end of the day, Rose is going to get punched. And I think that Wiley's strength is definitely going to catch up to her. Combinations are going to catch up to her, and then her undying, relentless approach of just always kind of stalking her opponents and just always trading in the pocket and always wanting to have the last word in those pocket exchanges, I think is going to be the ultimate benefactor here for Weili Zhang to get this title, or at least retain this title and take home the strap once again. So I like Weili here. Again, from combinations to solid takedown defense, I believe she has, to the strength, all of that. I think she truly has Rose beat here, and I'd be surprised if we see Rose win this fight won by knockout or even by decision. I think the only way Rose really wins this fight is if she pulls off a submission of some sort, but I just don't see this fight hitting the ground for an extended period of time where she'd be able to capitalize on something like that. So I'm going Weili Zhang, or I should say, sorry, Zhang Weili to win this fight via fourth round TKO.